Well, it's day 7, and what is really funny is that I think I've only put up one video, maybe 2 videos, of this 30-day receiving journey, and I popped it in a post this morning that on Facebook that part of the reason why I haven't been doing these videos is because I've been focusing on receiving. And these videos are, I guess, in alignment with me giving. I'm giving my lessons and my understanding and my explanation and my journey. I'm giving myself when I do these videos. So I can see why I haven't been able to do these videos. And I was on my walk, as I usually am, and I heard to come back and create this video. Someone on one of my Facebook walls, Christina, she mentioned that she does muscle testing, and she mentioned a book, I think it was called Beyond Belief. She mentioned a book about a guy who uses muscle testing, and he will muscle test on, lotto tickets, scratchies, pokies, all that sort of stuff. So he will test to see which one is the one that he has to get to win the money. And she had also done it, and she had created some success for her, and I thought, well, yeah, I do muscle testing all the time. I have been doing it in regards to that, more from the, is it time? Am I meant to be doing this yet? I do it. I don't do it much. I don't do it as much as I used to, and I'm looking at that going, okay, you know what, I'm going to do that for the next, let's say 72 hours, 3 days. For the next 3 days, I am basically going, whenever I come to a crossroad and I'm trying to work out which direction I'm going to go in, I am going to be using my muscle testing technique to figure out or to hear which direction to go. And I'm going to use this to see where it takes me. Now, a friend of mine shared this technique with me. Her name's Shelley. And I thought, well, I may as well share it with you. I don't think she'll mind. So, it's pretty easy. You can do all sorts of different things. People do this technique in all sorts of different ways, but this is the one that I use. So you take your fingers, and I'm sure you can see that, and you put them like that. And then you take these ones and you put them like that. And then what you do is you put these ones into that hole. Yes, I know. I'm not even going to go where that sounds like. But that's basically what you do. Is you have that hand like this, your right hand like this, and you basically put the fingers of your right hand in through the hole for the fingers of your left hand. There are so many different ways you can do it. Other people do it like this, and so they pull. There are so many different ways. This is how I do it. And so what I'll do is basically ask for a yes, and then I'll open up my fingers. I don't force them. I don't push them apart. I simply open them. And so I'll ask for a yes, and then I'll ask for a no. And there's a difference. I'm not doing anything. I ask for a yes, and then I'll ask for a no. And it's like, when I ask for a no, there's nothing there. There's no grab. There's no take. And when I ask for a yes, it's like it just clamps shut. And I know some people will say I'm doing it. What does it matter? It's something that works for me. It's always worked for me, and it's a technique that I have used for a couple of years, and it's always steered me in the most amazing direction. So I love it. I love using the muscle testing. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be using muscle testing. I also put up a video that I did with Rob about receiving, where I had a couple of really great insights, and so did he, about being in duality and having giving and receiving as a separate energy, and having giving and giving and giving and giving, and then whenever I receive the energy, but then I instantly give appreciation. So I go from being in the energy of receiving straight into the energy of giving. And when you've got that duality, and they are separate, which I'm more than willing to admit, in me they are separate. I do have this duality within me around receiving, giving and receiving. I haven't quite aligned with the flow of oneness, where energy, in this area where energy is energy, and it's simply flowing around in a circular motion, and there is no separation. Giving is receiving, and receiving is giving. I am quite happy to admit that I'm not quite there in that level of learning yet. I know some people are, and they're receiving, and that's awesome. That's not where I am. So I'm working through my layers of understanding the differences between the two, and sitting in and the way I'm doing it is sitting in the energy of giving, and sitting in the energy of that space and how it feels, and then on the other side sitting in the energy of receiving and understanding how that feels. The way I kind of view it is, if you're in that separate place and you don't have the two energies balanced, there's no point trying to bring them together, because they're going to be out of balance, or unbalanced when you bring them together. And it's like the old saying, I don't know whether it's a good one or not, but you can't love another person until you love yourself. It's that same sort of thing. You can't. You can. Okay, let me rephrase it. I cannot bring the energy of giving and receiving into a space of oneness if my receiving is blocked and it's all tainted with dirty energy and dark energy and blocked energy, whatever you want to call it. I'm not able to do that. It doesn't work for me. So for me, I find that I'm unraveling, and I'm learning how to sit in the energy of receiving. It's not something that I've ever really done well. I'll receive and then I'll instantly give, in the form of appreciation. And I said to someone this morning, especially around money, if I receive money, then I'll give appreciation. But it's almost like I'm giving that appreciation in a place of desperation. I'm giving the appreciation because I'm so desperate for the money that I'll just give that appreciation out there. But it's a desperation energy. So it's not going to bring me more receiving if I'm giving in a desperate way. And Christina made a really good point that it is sitting in a place of oneness and sitting in a place of love. And when you realize that giving and receiving energy is in its purest form love, like every energy. And here's the funny thing is that the universe, source, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't put love as a word onto something. That's us as humans still labeling an energy, a feeling. The universe isn't sitting there going, okay, well, let's love today. It is simply in a space of energy. And the energy that it's in has a specific vibration. It doesn't, as far as I understand, this is my understanding, it doesn't label it as love in the same way as it doesn't label it as hate. Love is a human word. It's a word that as humans we created ourselves. And even energy, when I was sitting in conversation with Rob and really sitting in the feeling of being completely in that space of oneness with my higher self, there were no words that could describe how I was feeling, because every single word was exactly how I was feeling. Like every word, it didn't matter which one, it was yes, that's it, yes, that's it, yes, that's it. Because the energy that you sit in is the energy of absolutely everything. And the source, universe, it doesn't put a label on it. It doesn't put a label on the table and say, hey, that's an energy and that's a table. It doesn't do that. And it doesn't put a label on it and say, hey, this energy is love. We do that as humans. It's still, even saying that an energy is love, that is still being in that space of duality. It's having to put a name to it. It's having to tag it. It's having to make it into something. But in actual fact, it's not anything, and yet it is everything. And this is a really, really interesting process for me of unraveling all of this, because of course everybody has a different belief. Everybody has a different perception. Everybody has a different understanding. And everybody's, for me, I would spend my time looking at what everybody else said, and then I would feel like I was wrong because what I thought didn't match what they thought. So this is kind of a little bit what I'm working through at the moment, is realizing that every single person has their own set of beliefs, and every single person has their own way of looking at things, and every single person has their own level of understanding, and every single person has their own connection to their own higher self in their own unique way. And the only thing I can do is to sit in my connection with myself, in my feelings, and for me say, this is how it is for me. It doesn't have to be that way for everybody else, but this is how it is for me. And I am finding it really, really interesting. Seeing all the different beliefs that are floating around, and looking at them going, okay, does that work for me? Yes. Does that work for me? No. Does that work for me? Yes. Does that work for me? No. And it's all about taking what resonates and leaving the rest. And if there's a belief that doesn't match yours or doesn't sit with yours, then leave it. Don't take it on. You don't, simply because one person that you think is more evolved than you, or better than you, or more aligned than you, simply because they have a belief that opposes yours, if it doesn't resonate, it doesn't resonate. Let it go. Let them have that belief. There's another belief, there's another experience, there's another energy, there's another alignment. Doesn't matter what word you use, they all match the same experience. There's another feeling, there's another song, there's another emotion. It'll pass you by and you'll look at it and go, that's it. That works for me. That's what I feel like. That's what I want to experience. That's how I want to feel. And you go with that. If you, and again, I've just put on my Facebook wall, I've noticed, and I'm looking at myself going, okay, where am I doing this? I'm noticing that so many people are pushing against so much, this Occupy movement. I don't really know what it is. I haven't seen anything about it. I just sort of heard that there's something going on. And people are pushing against that, and they're pushing against the governments, and they're pushing against big businesses, and they're pushing against these, rich people, and they're pushing against poor people. And I'm sitting here looking at it going, wow, we have to stop pushing against everything. No amount of pushing against the government is going to get the government to change. The best thing that we could do for ourselves is to find the energy that we resonate with the most and focus on that and leave the rest. Let it go. It doesn't exist. Most of this stuff that I see sort of floating around, I don't really know anything about. I might see the odd word, but I don't know anything about it. And it's not that it's out of alignment with me. It's simply that my alignment is in one layer and this energy is in another. And I had a conversation, and I can't remember if I put this in a video, that there is no such thing as being out of alignment with something. There's absolutely no such thing as being out of alignment. Everything that is in your space right now is in alignment with you. If it's not in alignment with you, it's not in your space. And to me, that is so simple. So if you don't like what the government is doing, if you don't like their rules, if you don't like the restrictions that they're creating, if you don't like the fact that they're jailing people for not vaccinating their kids or whatever's going on in this world, if you don't like it, figure out what the energy is in you that is part of the creation of it. We're so programmed to blame. We're so programmed to push against everything and think we have to push against it, we have to push against it, we have to push against it, we have to fight it, we have to fight it, we have to force other people to have the same belief as us. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked for centuries. It hasn't worked for years. I don't think people need to do it anymore. Let it go. Who cares? The only way, this is my belief, this is how I'm doing things. The only way things around me are going to change is to figure out what it is within me that's created it in the first place. had a conversation with people about big organisations, big shopping centres over here called Woolworths and Coles, which over in the US they'd be Walmart or Target or Kmart, something like that. One of these really big organisations. And they were saying how much they hated them, and they were really, pushing against them, and they were telling me all this story about how bad they were, and how bad they were for the economy, and how bad they were for the farmers. And I said to them, but hang on a minute. They're here because there's been an asking. There's been an asking for this experience. Things do not come into alignment unless there's an asking, unless there's a vibration, unless there's a resonance. And they were looking at me going, no, that's not true. They're here because, other people made them and other people created them. I didn't want them. I don't want them here. And I remember thinking, well, you know what? All the amount of pushing and fighting that you're doing at the moment is not making a difference. No amount of pushing against something is going to change anything. The best thing that they could do, the best thing that any of us can do, is figure out what is the energy in us that's creating this situation in the first place. If you don't like the fact that countries are at war, what is the energy in you that is in vibrational alignment with seeing countries in war and experiencing countries at war? Or if you don't like the fact that there are, that schools are forcing kids to have vaccinations, figure out what's the energy in you that is part of the creation. And it could be that the energy in you is your desire to push against the things that you don't like. Stop pushing against the things that you don't like. Allow the things that you don't like to exist. If you don't like them, don't participate in them. But there are other people around you. In this world, there are 7 billion people plus on this earth. And some people do want to vaccinate their kids. Some people do want to, and I'm using vaccination as a kid because for some reason, and maybe it was just so I could have it as a story, for some reason I read something about a school that basically set up police dogs and set up police and set up all these armed guards, and as the kids arrived at school they separated the kids from the parents and they forced the vaccinations onto the kids. And I remember reading that thinking, wow, that's a really interesting creation. I thought, far out. That's amazing. And that's kind of why I'm using it as an example, because now everybody's saying, you can't do that, they can't do that, they can't do that. Well, here's the thing, they can. If they have an energy, if they have a vibration, if they have a desire to have that kind of life, that's what they're going to create. And the people that are experiencing it, they have an energy, they have a vibration, they have an alignment that is creating that within them as well. And you put the two together and this is what happens. So if you don't like something, don't push against it. Figure out what it is within you that's creating it and let it go. And you won't see it in your world. It won't be in your vibration. You simply will not see it. And it happens naturally. I said to a guy today that I was talking to on the phone, angry people are no longer in my vibrational alignment. They used to be. I used to have so many people that were so angry and so unhappy around me. And I said, now, they simply don't exist. I don't have conversations with people that are angry at me. I don't have people getting mad at me, with exception to one person, which I kind of feel like, that there was a really old connection there, and I'm 99.99999% there at releasing that connection. But in any other way, I don't have angry people pushing against me anymore. When I used to have so many angry people that would be pushing against me. And I realized it's because I was angry and I was pushing against other stuff. And I see people around me all the time getting angry at people thriving and then wondering why they keep attracting angry people into their energy. And I say to them, well, what is it within you that's angry? And they say, well, I'm not angry, it's everybody else that's angry. And I'd look at them and say, well, why do you think everybody else around you is angry? If you have all these angry people around you, what's the consistency in that experience? They're not the consistency because they keep changing. It's a different person that comes to you, but the consistency is the anger. And the other consistency is you. And the sooner people get that everything that is outside of you is an absolute mirror, it's a catalyst, it's a conduit to the exact vibrations that are within you. So if you don't like what you're seeing around you, change the vibration in you that is creating it. Find it, figure out what it is, and change it. And it might not seem that simple, but you know what? Someone outside making noise. So if you don't like the energy that is coming at you, change it inside of you. The only consistency in all of this is you, is me. It's the only consistency. And I understand it, and yet sometimes I don't understand why people still sit in this space of looking outside of themselves and going, but it's not me, it's them. I didn't create this government. I didn't create these laws. I didn't create these rules. And I sit here and go, well, you know what? If they're affecting you and they're annoying you and they're making you angry, well, guess what? You are creating them. You are part of the creation. You are part of the asking. So if you don't like it, shift it. Get rid of whatever it is that was creating the asking and start asking for something else and focus on the new asking. Focus on receiving the new energy. Focus on the new vibration, because you cannot have your life outside of you change while you sit in the old energy of pushing against the stuff that you don't like. Create your new asking, release the old, and focus on that new asking. And I know so many people have said this in so many different ways, and I have no idea why I'm having to say it again now. But you know, it kind of really is that simple, and yet it is as hard as it seems, because we're so used to holding on, we're so used to pushing against, we're so used to pushing against everything that is around us, thinking that if we push against it we can change it. But here's what I'm getting more and more, that I'm doing this, this, especially in my evolution or my evolving journey, and this one with the receiving, is I'm really noticing that the faster I release the energy that I'm pushing against, and the faster I accept and allow a new energy to come through, and the faster I focus on that new energy, and the faster I see everyone around me as a conduit for the energy that's within me, and the faster I release that, and the faster I change it, the faster and faster I do this, the faster my life around me is changing, and far out. You know, it is changing constantly. I was just thinking yesterday, there are no dogs around. Why are there no dogs around? And then this morning, there are like 3 dogs on the walk. I didn't say I wanted dogs. I was just asking why there are no dogs around. But my focus was on the fact that there weren't any dogs around. And I was pushing against the energy of dogs. I was pushing against dogs. And so I created dogs. It doesn't matter whether you're focused on the let's call it positive and negative. It doesn't, or say what you want and what you don't want. It doesn't matter whether you're focused on what you want, or you're pushing against what you don't want. And if you ask a question, something as simple as if you go past a car crash and you say, wow, I wonder what happened. Well, you're going to find out. In some way, shape or form, something is going to happen. You're either going to see it on TV, you're going to read it in the newspaper, you're going to experience it yourself, you're going to have someone tell you about it. Something is going to happen that is going to create that experience for you. And here's the thing, it's all about where the energies are right now. Before, it used to be that you would ask for something and then you'd receive it, but it would never come in the way that you thought it would, and it'd be really convoluted and you wouldn't understand. It's not like that anymore. It's changed. You ask for dogs, you're going to see dogs. You ask for coffee, you're going to get coffee. You ask for an apple, you're going to get an apple. You ask for joy, you're going to get joy. You ask for anger, you're going to get anger. It's more specific, it's more direct, it's more concise, and it's more aligned. And it's because we as humans are more direct, more concise, and more aligned. As our energies get stronger, and as our asking gets stronger, and as our focus gets stronger, and as we get stronger, our creating, our ability to create is becoming more precise. And yes, it is the energy in the earth that's changing, but so are we. It's because we're changing. there are people out there that know nothing about this, and the earth is changing, and it's making no hoots of a difference to them because they're not conscious. It's a combination of those of us that are conscious and that are waking up and that get all of this, and the fact that the earth is changing. You put those two together and oh my gosh, everything is shifting. But there are still people that aren't shifting. There are still people that go and have their Monday to Friday 9 to 5 jobs and they don't know about any of this. They don't even know that this exists. There are still people out there like that. And the more that we accept and allow them to be where they are, and the more we focus and accept and allow ourselves to be where we want to be, the faster all of this is going to shift. The faster this is going to shift. And no amount of trying to make people get what we get is going to change things. It's not. It's just going to make it harder, and it's going to take longer, and it's going to be harder, and it's going to take longer. And I'm finding that the faster I allow and I accept, I'm living with someone who has very different beliefs to me, and he lives in a very different way, and he creates a very different environment. And I am learning, and I'm learning to accept and allow him to be where he wants to be, and not try and change him, not try and fix him, not try and make him better, not try to realign him. He is where he is for the experiences that he has to have, and this has been the most amazing learning for me, is learning how to accept that he's making his own decisions and he's making his own choices. And I can either push against it and make it really hard for myself, or I can allow it and make it really easy. And to me, I love the idea of allowing and making it easy. So I kind of see that all these people out there that think they're doing really good stuff by pushing against governments and pushing against I don't know, all these big businesses and pushing against insurance companies and pushing. But oh my God, you're just making it so much harder. You're making it so much harder for everybody by pushing against it. And yeah, I did not foresee this video going down this direction. I hopped on intentionally with simply sharing a technique, and blah, it's all come out. So yeah, it's actually really funny, because now I feel like I'm pushing against the people that are pushing against the people, and it's like, I don't want to push against the people that are pushing against the people. I want to accept and allow. And accept and allow, and accept and allow the people that are pushing against the people, because they all have a role. Even they have a role. People that are pushing against the people that are pushing against the people that are pushing. It's ongoing. It's infinite. It's infinite, and it's infinite, and it's infinite. And yeah, I feel like I've been pushing against those people in this video, which is really interesting. And good in a way, because now I can feel the energy of why I'm seeing people that are pushing against the people, because I have a pushing against the people energy myself, which explains why I'm doing this video. I have been pushing against the people, but what's funny is I'm pushing against the people that are pushing against the people. So, I'm pushing against the people that are doing this Occupy movement. I'm pushing against the people that stand up and say, hey, I'm vegan, don't kill the animals, save the earth. I'm pushing against the people that think it's bad that we're having a war. I'm pushing against the people that think it's bad that we, that we have big businesses. And yeah, I'm just sitting here realizing all of this now, going, oh my God, I'm pushing against the people that are pushing against the people. Fuck. That's so not going to help me. So, oh God, that's such a good realization. Okay, there goes. So, it comes full circle, and you can't see me, I'm doing this full circle. It comes full circle into being. It's not even accepting and allowing, because accepting and allowing what? If you're accepting and allowing, it means that you're potentially not accepting, not allowing, and I'm just sort of, wow, okay. So it comes to being. being in this moment right now, doing exactly what you're doing in this moment right now, and being in this space, and being connected, and being aligned, and being the beingness that you are. And yeah, I'm kind of sitting in that energy, and you know, I've shifted from when I started this video, and yeah, sitting in the beingness of you. When you sit in the beingness of you, everything around you is being what you are. And when you're in the beingness of you, that's it. That's all that exists. That's all that matters, is being you. That there is nothing else but you. There's nothing else but you. There's nothing else than me sitting on this bed right now. This is it. This is all I am right now in this moment, sitting on this bed. Nothing else exists. Nothing else matters. This is it. This is all I am. This is all I have. This is all it is. In this moment right now, I'm sitting on a bed. Being in the moment, being in the beingness of you. And I'm getting so clearly and so strongly, being in the beingness of you and nothing